So good morning, everybody. Jerome Foster here, and thank you all for joining this virtual interaction with head coach Darren Sammy. As usual, you indicate by raising your hands, then you will be acknowledged to ask your questions. No more than 2 questions per person, given the amount of people that are in the interaction. Um, Coach is ready and rearing to go, I assume. I'll just ask one question and then the floor will be open for the questions. Coach, obviously, some time off since the last series in terms of the men's team since December. Just how are preparations going and how are you looking forward to the next duty that you have?
Yeah, it's been a while since we
Mike is
last
off,
played.
Coach.
It's on, actually.
Yeah, not hearing you.
Can you hear me now?
No.
I'm hearing him, Jerome.
We are hearing
Yeah.
you clearly.
My mic is on.
Yeah, I'm hearing you now. Yeah,
Oh,
cool. Yeah.
you probably
That was
muted.
me.
Yeah.
That was me. Sorry.
Yeah. First of all, good morning to everyone. And Jerome, again, thanks for having me. I think it's important that, the position that I'm in, the media understands what we, from the cricketing aspect, what we're trying to do. But to answer your question, it's first of all, it's a much welcome break for us with the schedule that we have ahead, starting in May, all the way down to December. Much needed break for me and the family to recharge my batteries. But in terms of preparation, obviously we have our regional 4-day competition that is going on, which people are putting their hands up. The testing was in Pakistan in February. Building up to our series, we have I think an A-team tour. Well, South Africa A-team is coming down. That will be used as preparation for the test series. And most of our white ball players would be playing in leagues around the world, whether it be Pakistan, IPL, and all these things. But we intend to assemble in Ireland around the 12th or 11th of May to start our preparations, especially in the conditions. Ireland, similar to England, we'll have a 10-day camp there before the actual series start.
All right, thank you, Coach. So we now open the floor for questions. You raise your hands, and then I'll acknowledge the first question will come from Philip Spooner, and then followed by Ian Wason. Just when you're asking the question, just let us know which media house you're aligned to. If you're a freelancer, that's also okay. Yeah, you can go.
Good morning, Darren.
Good morning, Philip.
Hi, how are you?
I am well. Always good to hear from you, man.
Likewise. And good morning to everybody else on the call. Shamar Joseph, he's exciting. He's everything that we were looking for in a fast bowler, but we're not seeing much of him. Played one game for Guyana, and Shane Splint's injury seems to have cropped up again. Is it a concern for you, and have you been in touch with him to see, his whereabouts and how he's coming along? Because I'm sure, like you, we'd all want to see him running against Australia.
Yes, actually, I had a conversation on Friday with Shamar, Friday evening, just checking up on his rehab and his journey back. Also, the head coach of the Guyana franchise. I get weekly updates. He's one of the talent IDs that Cricket West Indies have put in place. So I communicate directly with the work Shoma is doing. He sends me videos of all his training sessions, and I must admit, I must give him credit because he records all the deliveries that Shoma bowled, the pace at which he bowls it, and the areas on the pitch map that he lands the balls. So at one time he was bowling full pace, injury free. So we are monitoring it. Myself, Dr. Byam, get frequent updates because he's definitely one. We all know how exciting, that amazing test match or test series rather for him in Australia. Our next test series is against Australia. So we understand the importance of him in the bowling lineup, and we are doing everything to make sure that he's ready and back on the circuit for West Indies.
And to follow up on that, how optimistic, realistic is it to expect him to run in Barbados in late June and bowl out Australia? In addition to that, Kemar Roach, have you had a chat with Kemar now that he's mentor player? And what is he telling you, or what are you telling him in terms of?
I've not had a chat with Kemar or any of the other guys. Obviously, my role officially starts on the 1st of April, and it's not all fools, huh? That is not part of that thing. But my role for the test job will start officially. I'm one who always try to go by the books. Andre Colley is more or less quite involved still. I'm pretty sure we're gonna use him in different areas, building up to me taking over. But I intend to have all my conversations. I don't like to leave my T's not crossed and I's not dotted. So definitely conversations we'll have to be had with different players I see that the brand of cricket that we want to play, how we're gonna do it, and the personnel that will help us play that brand.
And is that brand including avoiding the wombat hour? Because
I see Jerome watching you there, Spooner.
Yeah, that's the final one for Spooner. Yeah.
But the wombat hour is to guard against, and Craig keeps speaking about it, and it's been the Achilles heel in the regional tournament. We've seen games very tight up until lunch on day 3, and then wombat hour is over.
What I could tell you though, Spoons, the postmortem, or how you call it, the research and analytical part of the game that I've started to do with one of the best analysts in the world, with Avinash. And the reality of where we are is the honest thing that we have to accept. Now, once we've realized where we are at Test cricket in the world, we now start to channel or put a plan together that involves skills, tactics, personnel, to help us be successful. It's a program and a process we did for the ODI and the T20 team, and we're gonna do the same for the test team. Like I said, that may be changing personnel, changing in the approach to Test cricket, and all these things. However, we will do everything that is in line with the data that is collected from regional first-class cricket, what we've been doing over the last 3-4 years, and the areas we see that we could improve. So I'm pretty sure we're gonna have a plan. But the most important thing is the way we execute that plan in the next 3 years whilst I'm here.
All right. Thank you, Philip. We go to Ian.
Thank you for your time, and apologies to my other colleagues for stepping.
No problem, PS.
Cheers.
Good morning, Coach. Good morning, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning, Ian.
And I know, well, you mentioned that you are starting officially on the 1st of April on the test team, but still the coach of the white ball team, and there are a number of white ball players people want to see on the red ball team. Have you begun any discussions with any of these white ball players to get them to play test cricket?
I was expecting that question, to be honest. I've heard the chatter in the media. However, once I was approached to do this job, and I look at what we're doing, the personnel that we have, and if I was to do it, where can I impact the game with my team, and where and who can help us with the brand that I see. Well, not me, but the team sees we could do. And obviously, conversations will have to be had. Well, conversations are already had. I've already had conversations with certain individuals that I feel that could add value and be effective for us in that format. And I must say I've received some positive feedback, and one that I'm excited about coming up when we take on Australia. However, it will be done from a point of fairness, and it won't be without a plan and a process to how we do it.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much. And also, the World Test Championship new cycle is starting. Of course, we'll have plans. You must set goals that what you want to achieve during the next cycle. But there's also this talk about this two-tier system. We are not sure when it will be implemented, or how will they decide which of the teams will be on the top or which of the teams will be at the bottom. And if it is that this World Test Championship coming up here might be a qualifier, we don't know. Nothing has been concrete yet. But what are some of your goals in this WTC?
Well, like I said at the top of the interview, I understand the job. When I have my conversations with the director, what he wants to what the direction myself as a head coach and my team see we could go, how we're gonna do it, but most importantly, the reality of where we at as a test playing nation, and that is also important. So, in planning and putting goals on a long-term plan, we have to be realistic. Now, earlier I said how we want to play that we feel it will be successful. We've looked at all the top 4 teams in the world, regional competition in their territories, what they do on the international scene, mirror it with what we do regionally here in our 4-day competition, which is what we do on the test team. And we've collected all the data. And once we do that, we now could see where we match the world in certain areas and the other areas where we can improve. And like I said, that could be through the technical aspect, through the personnel aspect, and we will give it very good consideration. And then we set our goals from there, whether it be to finish in the top 5 or move our rankings from number, I think it's 8 or 9 to to 7 and to 6 and do it gradually. I'm not gonna promise anybody something that I don't think is feasible within my tenure. And I think we've done. If I am to follow what we did in ODI cricket, more or less, from moving to number 9 in T20s to at one point number 3 with the process that we had, but to me my most important and satisfying period was the 1-day team. When we started, we were 18 points clear of number 9, I think. To date, I think we're within 6 or 7 points, and everything that we did was looking at different series and how we could win to get closer to the goal, which is to win that 2027 World Cup, and how we're gonna do it. We are now within probably 12 points of the top 6 teams in the world. So again, it's processes, it's plans, it's execution. But the reality is always important of where we at in the world of cricket. And we're not in a very good position. That's the truth.
Right. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Ian. All right. Garvin, that will be followed by Terry Finister.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, sir.
Okay. All right, Darren. My question to you. Earlier on, you alluded to the possibility of, you know, a change in personnel for the test team, and one would obviously assume that you're referring to some of the white ball specialists. But with the fact that there's not much red ball cricket being played in the Caribbean, especially with at the regional level, how would you bridge that gap when you get the white ball specialists who have not really been participating in the regional tournaments, in the regional 4-day tournaments? How would you get them then prepared for Test cricket and what comes with it?
It's a fine balance, because one could argue, they're not in our regional 4-day tournament. However, I seem to fall back on a certain things. Guys like Sewa, guys like David Warner, all these guys who play Test cricket for their regional, for their countries without even probably scoring a first class 100. However, we are faced with a situation where our players with the most experience, I think that's the term I want to use, our players with the most exposure to different conditions, and the most successful ones are the ones playing white ball, not taking anything away from what Craig Brathwaite and co has achieved. But there's a level of consistency that we've seen more. And my philosophy is, once you're a batsman job is to score runs in different conditions. And I'm not gonna just turn the test team into a white ball team. That's not what I'm about. But I see there are players who are very consistent in our white ball squads that I feel could add value to the style and the brand that me as a head coach want to instill in our cricket.
Okay,
Terry,
and oh, sorry.
Any
Okay,
other
sorry
question,
about that.
Garvin?
Yes,
Okay.
one more. As we head into the next round of regional 4-day matches,
Mm-hmm.
what would you like to see from the fast bowlers? Because we've noticed that
Oh,
the to- tournament is more or less being dominated by the spinners. I think 8 out of the 10 top wicket
that,
takers are spinners. And I know that a lot of emphasis has been placed on trying to get the fast bowlers active, bowling points and everything like that. What would you like to see from the fast bowlers moving forward in the tournament?
Gavin, you're one of the talent IDs I have up there. You're watching the cricket. Yeah, it's I don't know. These first few rounds of matches was played with the Kookaburra ball, and I've been getting different feedbacks feedback from the different players, that it seems like the Kookaburra ball is not moving as much as the Duke balls, which we will have later on in the round. So I'm waiting to see when the Duke balls being introduced in the second in the latter rounds, to see how the fast bowlers goes. However, it is an area that we as a test team, we quite aware of our fast bowling, especially in the run rate. From the research that and the data that Avinesh have collected, our fast bowlers are probably going at 3, 4, probably even 5 runs and over in Test cricket, whilst the opposition is bowling at us at probably 2.7 per over. So it means that we almost 150 to 200 runs behind, because we bowling more overs to them, and we are facing less overs, probably around 20 overs less than the opposition. So we are already behind the 8 ball. So a couple places or scenarios for us to improve has to be on the economy rates of our fast bowlers, especially if you're not taking wickets. That's an area we have to improve on. During the regional 4-day competition, I see the spinners have been dominating. To date, probably, I think Jaden Seals and probably I saw OJ Shields looks very promising. And the normal, guys who normally perform during that period. But it is an area I'm watching closely. With that said, though, our fast bowling in Test cricket has really competed and put themselves up there in terms of taking wickets, taking 20 wickets in a Test match over the last period. So Andre Kohli and his men have done really good, and hopefully we could add, some more guys in there that could be penetrative in Test cricket, but also be economical as well.
All right, thank you, Garvin. We go to Terry. Terry, you hearing me? Well, you're there. We'll probably have to come back to Terry. Marshall, St. Patrick Hewitt.
Mute.
Yeah.
Do you want me to go, or should I wait for Terry?
All right. If all right, Marshall can go and then we'll come back to Terry, if possible.
Okay, no problem. Darren, do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Darren, first one, just two questions. First one, I don't know if anyone's really asked you this question really outright, but what persuaded you to take the job? Because it would have been easy to say no. So why did you actually want to take the Test job?
That's a very good question, Mr. Hewitt. Yeah, when the discussions happened, also with my staff as well, because I mean they're equally important to the cause, and the charter was going on, and finally the question was put. Knowing my relationship with Andrew and as well, and what the vision he had for the Test team and the way we communicated, it was a tough decision. I must say, one that I never saw, me doing. I know when I became white ball coach, there was a lot of, back and forth of whether I'm capable of doing stuff. However, with conversations with my staff, I like to call them my crew, but with my staff, my analysts, my different assistant coaches, and they were all positive that we as a group could add value to the Test team. And once I understood that, and the conversations as to how we were gonna add that value and look to be a brand that could look to be consistent and win games. It became hard for me to not take it. Obviously, my connection and my passion for West Indies, I think I've exemplified that throughout my playing career, and now that I'm into coaching, that I never doubt myself. And once I believed that, spoke to my mom, my wife, with the time it will take me away from my kids and my family, and she gave the go ahead. And Miss Clara prayed on it. She said, "Go ahead, son, do your thing." That became an easier option for me.
Thank you, Darren. And then just lastly, you spoke earlier on about having some conversations with players who have previously been pigeon holders, white ball players, or T20 players, etc. Just out of interest, when you've had some of these conversations, what have you picked up on that has been the disconnect from a player perspective, not so much from a coach perspective, that has prevented them maybe playing red ball cricket more extensively?
I think opportunities, financial reward, probably those who used to play before, and was out of test selection for a couple years. Yes, some of them still don't understand the conversations that we had or lack thereof when they were not playing. A little bit of everything. However, I think what encourages me is the relationship that has been built out of respect and trust, as to the vision that we had in white ball, the culture that we've been able to achieve in that in those formats, and the level of professionalism that we have been able to operate in. And I trust them, and they in turn trust our team as to the things that we want to achieve. So the conversation was a little bit easier, and I get a sense that they really want to. However, I've also had conversations with Miles to see how best we could have all this talent being able to, enjoy best of both worlds, and being able to do so the franchise cricket. However, a level of commitment is needed to what to our test team, and our cricket in general. And the guys from the conversations that I've had understand, and I think we're making a step in the right direction, and hopefully we could have we could pick from all our, like I said earlier, the most exposed players in terms of experience and playing in different conditions, and those who are consistent in their field, available to us whenever we pick in a West Indies team.
Thank you, Darren. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Marshall. Terry is back online, so we're going to give him that opportunity, given that he was here before. Terry?
Appreciate it, Jerome. Morning, Darren.
Morning, Terry.
How are you doing? One of the things I want to ask about later this year, a little bit down the road, but later this year, of course, the St. Lucia Kings will be defending their first ever CPL championship title. However, you have a tour that clashes with the conclusion of the CPL. Does that mean that the Kings will have a new coach this year and a new coaching staff?
Terry, I like to defend titles, however, I've had conversations with Miles on the terms of my contract. I also, St. Lucia is a franchise that is also very, very dear to me. I've been there for 11 years, but from the inception of CPL. Winning last year meant so much. You saw what it meant to the people, and to us as well. However, I don't intend to compromise my job in terms of not being able to prepare my players. In a way, I think we have India right after CPL, and most of our players will be playing in the Caribbean Premier League anyways, and that bridge, I know, I'm pretty sure I'm probably going to be coaching the St. Lucia Kings this CPL season. Do I leave earlier? That's a conversation myself and director in terms of how our preparation will be, whether in India or Dubai or even in the Caribbean. But that's a conversation myself and the director will have.
Thank you very much for that. Second question, the talent ID, the new selection process is underway. To your mind, how has that been working? What kind of feedback have you been getting from the territorial scouts, and how do you see this improving West Indies cricket?
I think it's a step in the right direction. I know it's different from what traditionally we used to do. There was a chairman of selectors and a couple of selectors. However, the vision of Director Miles is that if we could have, you know, those eyes directly, because I can't watch all the cricket, I can't see it. I will need help. We also have Jamal Smith is overseeing all the talent IDs that they've had. So last week I was having a conversation with Craig about Windward Islands cricket and how they've been, what they've been showing in the 40 competition. Last night I had a conversation with Tony Gray in relation to Trinidad. So it is a constant dialogue as to, okay, I see this guy, this player who's playing, he's scoring runs, you at the ground, what do you see? Because sometimes it's not just what the stats, what the results show or the scorecard, you know, what do you see? So, for instance, I've had conversation, there's this youngster, his name down here, Jonathan Drakes, who's been scoring he's been scoring runs in the middle, but the manner in which he's been scoring his from Barbados, the manner in which he's been scoring his runs, you know, in difficult situations, you know, with conversations, you could see that on the field of maybe Barbados 30 for 4 or whatever it was. And then he comes in and play a mature inning, you know, so with eyes on the ground in all the different territories, it makes my job easier when a player comes up who's performing and I could have a call and say, hey, this kid, what have you seen this season? What are his strengths? Because I'm not there on the ground to see. So I think, and that in itself, it makes selection easier for me or for the team. And I think people seem to think they've do away with the chairman of selectors and stuff, but still there's a selection process. I don't select teams by myself. You know, from the information gathered from all the talent IDs that is being passed to Jamal, with the information that I have on my analysts having their shoes collecting, and when we've watched the game, then the pool of players come, and then we now put a 11 together and balance the bench. That's how it's done. It's not a one-man show, like, you know, I've heard people been saying. There's a process. They got, I think, 12 guys around the region that help select as well.
All right, thank you, Terry. All right, we go to Junior Codling and then Sergio the 4.
Good morning, head coach Darren Sammy.
Good morning, Junior.
Yeah, man. First, I want to start off by I've watched you since you came into international cricket and during your reign of captaincy for West Indies. You always look to your maker for inspiration and so forth, and I like that. So I want to ask if you, in rebuilding this test team, if you think a moment for them of, you know, because you might select a player and he might be having a bad day or a bad night or something might have happened. So will you have somebody in place to take care of the mentality of your players / mind power, to give them the strength within their mind to be able to execute the plans that you have?
This is a touchy area, but what I could tell you, we do have a mental coach doesn't travel with the team, but is available to the team. And yeah, she's based out of Trinidad, and that is so important. And our conversations at well, myself, Miles, or Louis, the manager, and all the guys involved in the cricket is how do we maximize somebody like that in the dressing room? But it is the reality is we operate in such a fragile culture, and language and you know guys being able to open up when they are faced with challenges has been so difficult over the last, even when I was playing. We had a mental coach back then, but you find it so hard as men. I don't know if it's just the culture we have as our people growing up, that we bottle up a lot. However, we've been encouraging players to use the mental coach / psychologist that is available, because I could only speak to a player based on my own experience, but I'm not a professional in that field. So yes, there is one available. However, at this point, there's none traveling with the team. Something probably we could look at as well.
Thank you for your honesty, head coach Darren Sammy. The other question that I have is that we have seen Darren Sammy in T20. We have seen Darren Sammy in the ODI with very, very good result. What will be the Darren Sammy in the test team? Will the Darren Sammy be the whole school test cricket, or will we see a version of what we see in England with your own style, not that of Baz McCollum, but Darren Sammy that we can speak about and say, this man that have been through a lot has come back up and bring West Indies test team to maybe not number one, but somewhere where people can't regulate us to the second division.
Junior, what I promise you is whatever we do, it will be data driven. It will be based on research, data analysis, and the public. I want to create a team, well, in all formats, where when you see us play, you understand why we play like this. I think we've been very open with what we want to do and what we want to achieve in white ball. I think from the time I started, you've been hearing 2027 in the back of your head. You've been hearing it in your mind. 2027, whatever, everything we do is get towards winning 2027. The personnel that we put, and it will be the same. And again, understanding where we at as a test team, understanding where we are as a region when we play 4-day cricket, the results that we produce, and then now taking all that we have from what the data says we need to do to be able to compete with the top 4 teams in the world, and now try to implement that. And that is where my focus and my team's focus will be, bringing our own style in an effective way, and hopefully it is successful.
Thank you, head coach. No further question.
Thank you, Junior.
All right. Thank you, Junior. We move to Sergio the 4, then Guru Krishnan and Daniel Blake. Yeah, Sergio. Seems like not hearing Sergio. We'll come back to Sergio if he's back online. Guru Krishnan from India. Times.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Jerome. Hi, Darren. I have two questions.
Yes.
Yeah. So one is you a while ago spoke about exposure to your players. We see so many West Indian cricketers playing in the IPL and various leagues. How is that kind of exposure helping the West Indies cricket? That is my first question.
I think I could, for one, who when I played was, played in different conditions. What it has done, and that's been going on for a long, long time. Where back in the day, I grew up hearing, our players playing county cricket in England. So Viv, Malcolm, Joel, Brian, Hoop, all of them play to the point that when we went to England, we were so familiar with the conditions. What T20 has done, it has given you an opportunity to play in different conditions. Yes, it's a different format to Test and ODI, but then you learn so much from the different players that you are, you're supposed to rather. You in a dressing room with a Virat Kohli or Faf du Plessis um, or Kane Williamson, it gives you that exposure and that opportunity to learn so many different things. However, if you now become successful in performing in those different countries, when you now represent your country, it gives you a clearer picture of what you are expecting. And some of those players that you've played against, you familiarize yourself with it, and that's what it's supposed to do. Yes, it's lucrative, but to me, the best success would be being able to learn and gather enough that you could come back and implement it in your game and allow you to be effective when you represent your country.
Has it been working, Darren? Is it helping?
What's that?
Is that helping West Indies cricket?
Is it helping us? I think I'm pretty sure if I am to say in T20 cricket, I think England just did it with England and then India. We were the only team who've won twice for a long time. Yet still our T20 cricket has not. I don't think it is the downfall of our Test cricket. We we I remember as a little kid watching in 1995, there about 1996, 7 or whatever it was. We losing the Frank Worrell Trophy and never got it back. T20 cricket wasn't played then. You understand?
Yes.
I think it's
Yes.
so for you to say if it's helping or not, I think it's given our players a great platform to further expose themselves and be better in one format, whilst it is quite financially rewarding, because don't you forget that when you become a professional, there's a working time frame for you
Yes.
to earn and provide for your family. However, what I would say is for us to create, like I said at the top, a better system where New Zealand does it, where the guys still committed to representing the country. There's still honor and pride in that. And I'm pretty sure we are working towards that. And over the last year and a half, when you look at somebody like Shafin Rutherford, who was in the ODI Team of the Year. Before I came about, he was nowhere. And that's a guy that was playing in all different, the world wanted him in all the different leagues, performing. And through good conversation and good communication, we see somebody like a Shafin Rutherford. We saw Evan Lewis, the return of Evan Lewis. You saw Hetty, although he has not really grabbed on the opportunities of coming back. All these guys who have gained that experience elsewhere. Shafin Rutherford was very instrumental in that year we had in ODI cricket.
Second and last one for me, from me, as the head coach of the test team, how will you ensure there is consistency in the players? Because of late we have been seeing quite a few debutants. No, not many are sticking around, except we have Craig Brathwaite, who is almost 100 tests old. So how do you ensure this consistency so that there is consistent performance in the West Indies test team? Thank you.
Well, consistency comes from preparation and hard work. We as a staff, like we always do, is try to we do turn up to work and prepare the guys the best way we can for battle. And once that bell rings, it's really now for our players to understand the process of how we want to play. Like I said, there's a level of trust that has been with the white ball players, in coaches and players, that when they've bought into the manner in which we want to play. And we've created an environment that whoever comes in new would have understood from watching what we're about. Case in point, Ahmed Django made his debut, and he said it. He didn't feel any different to what he was doing in Trinidad. And I remember 2 years ago when we implemented the bonus system to try to give direction to how we want one-day cricket to play. A lot of people was against it, but when we do things, because we have researched and see what the top teams in the world are doing, how they perform and how consistent they are, and we try now to mirror it. So Ahmed Django comes into our West Indies test team, our West Indies ODI team on debut, but he feels so at home because he says the direction he got from playing in that position, when he got there, it was like yes, the level is up a little higher, but he was so used to doing it that it was a little bit easier when he came to make his debut. So for me now in test cricket is to try to repeat that, give guidance for our original players. And I always stress it's roles first, then you put the personnel. If you don't know the different roles that is required in an 11 to make you be successful, then you put in the cart before the horse. Right? You need to know what roles you have to do at number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then the bowlers. How you're gonna do it, and then you say, okay, all right, this guy, this person, this is what he's been doing in that field. So now, when you have a situation where somebody's out of the team, the next man coming in, the personnel will change, but the role remains the same. So that's what I intend to create as well in Test cricket, and hopefully we have the personnel that's been or have been showing that the different roles that we would like, they can do it.
All the best, Darren, and we want West Indies to be back to its glorious days. Good luck to you.
Thank you so much. I want that as well.
All right. Thank you, Guru. Sergio is back online. We're gonna try with Sergio again, and then after that it's Daniel, then Jelani Beckles, and Roger Seepersad.
All right, I'm hoping you're hearing me now.
Yeah,
Yes,
we're hearing
sir.
you.
Great. All right, Darren, we seem to be playing more matches in Florida. Do you think that is taking away from home team advantage? How are the players adapting to that? That's my first question.
I tell you, all my players want to go to play in Florida. I can promise you that. They love touring Florida. All my staff, everybody's time when family comes across too, it becomes a whole family trip. But yeah, I think when you just understanding from when you look at there's the administration and there's the players. We have now tried to, when teams are coming over, we look at the venues where it is best suited for us. You understand? Case in point, South Africa in Jamaica, South Africa in Trinidad, you know, Bangladesh in St. Kitts, all these things we look at. However, there's another element to the game that, is marketing and how the board could, maximize that financial aspect to the game. For instance, England tour, Barbados, Antigua, St. Lucia, these are things that are standard. And we try to balance it to a point. One of the conversations earlier, we myself and the analysts had with Miles, is trying to make sure that we are playing the opposition in places that best suits us. And I think it's worked really well. What we've done in both ODI and T20s is made home our fortress. We have been winning series at home over the last year and a half. However, Fort Lauderdale is a place where it's not just the cricket aspect to it. We have a duty also to develop the game in the US, the financial rewards as well for the board and all these things. But so far, I think we've not done badly at all in Fort Lauderdale. I remember we winning a series against India, something we've not done. We did not do in so many years. We wrapped it up in Florida. I'm looking forward to it as well. So, and it gives the fans from that side an opportunity to see the men in maroon.
And my second question would be, what do you think is key for West Indies to be scoring over 300 more consistently against teams like Pakistan, India, Bangladesh?
Is that ODI cricket?
ODI, yes, ODI cricket.
Okay. I think we've been doing that, huh? I think if I'm pretty sure if I am to ask my analysts, the scores over the last year and a half, especially in the chase, we've been chasing down scores of 320. We've been putting scores of 300 plus on the board as well, and it varies from different conditions. Our goal, if we could score 300 plus every time we bat, but most of the times the conditions dictate how you play. But when we get the surfaces that allows that, all these guys know the game plan. We need to get 320, 330, and we've been doing that. I remember a record chase against England, 320 odd. We chased down. We chased down to win when Amir made his debut, 300 plus against Bangladesh. And we beat England in 2 ODI series over the last 2 series we've played them. But however, is the consistency remains in the different roles and the different stages in the game, whether it be the power play, how we could maximize it. What I could tell you in ODI cricket, what we've been able to do over the last 18 months or almost 2 years, is that 11 to 40 over period where spin was killing us.
Right.
And we were, whilst the world was losing probably 1.5, 2 wickets during that period, we were losing 4. We have brought that gap down. We have matched the world in that period, probably minus the series against Sri Lanka on those wickets. But we've improved our strike rate and scoring rate versus spin during that middle, and we've lost less wickets, hence more 300 plus scores over the last 18 months.
All right, thanks a lot.
All right. Thank you, Sergio. All right. Daniel, then Jelani Beckles.
Hi, good morning, Darren. First question in regards to our Jamaican perspective. Some of our Jamaican players haven't had a consistent run in the test team. We did have Jermaine Blackwood and John Campbell for a period, but recently with Kirk McKenzie and Kruma Bonner, etc., they haven't been able to cement their place long term. From the early matches that you've seen in the West Indies Championships with conversation with the talent ID and so forth, what have you seen so far to sort of give some optimism that might change? And what would be your advice to the players who may have felt that, you know, it's been harder to get into the team over the years?
I've seen the first round of matches, the first half of the tournament. Batters have put their hands up. The spinners have been excellent. You know, I mean, you look at probably one of the oldest guys in the tournament. I think to date he's just under 500 runs. However, you know, I watched John Campbell out of Jamaica look really well, really good opening. I think on my head he scored about almost 300 runs, probably at an average of 70 for 100 or so. And he's one, I mean, before the ban was really looking, you know, to take his game to another level. I mentioned Jonathan Drakes earlier, the manner in which he's been scoring his runs. Some of the Windies players came back and they playing their scoring runs. And these are batsmen from different positions. Our spinners continue to do well. I mean, I don't know something about West Indies and left arm spinners. Carrie Pierre has been exceptional, not only in the 4-day championships, but you know, in our T20 competition, he's been bowling well. The Super 50, he's been bowling well, and he continues again in the 4-day championships. You know, the number Pumal and Bishop and all these guys. However, what I said, and again, ideally, I would have loved to implement our findings from the analysts as to where we're at as a regional 4-day championship tournament. What we do, the data that was collected, I would have loved to implement it. However, by the time I got the role and the respect I have for Andre in, you know, him finishing his tenure, I think it would have been too soon to try to give direction to our 4-day championship, but it's something that we have already put together. So we will have clear roles, and again is being able to share our vision at the top on how we want to play Test cricket and filter it down to the regional to the regional franchises, as to what we expect from openers, what we're looking for from middle order batsmen, 4, 5, 6, what we want from the bowlers. And again, it's with the idea of us building a champion 11, right? Based on roles that is required. And that again, you'll have me stress it. I've repeated it ever so often. We've collected the data from the top 4 teams, both regional and international. So if now every franchise understands and have the conversation with the different players, hey, you're aspiring to play for West Indies, you are an opener, this is what they're looking for, right at the top. This is what, if Craig Brathwaite is out of the West Indies team through injury or whatever, next in line person has already have an idea of what is required because they've been fulfilling it in the 4-day competition. Case in point, like I explained earlier, Amir Janko. So we want to create that. And moving forward, I want when you guys watch us play, and you guys are the media, your report, you will have a general idea as to why this brand and why we play like this. Because we have been very open and transparent as to the things that we want to achieve. However, it will require some level of patience in us trying to transition into a brand that we want to be consistent.
Thank you for that. In my second question, since your appointment as white ball coach, you've had high praise for Rovman Powell and Brandon King, not just for their performances, but you've spoken about their leadership skills. Now moving into the test team, I know that they haven't been a part of the test team, and no conversations have been had about white ball players transitioning into red ball. Knowing their specific leadership skills, as you've mentioned, has there been a thought of potentially introducing them to that side of West Indies cricket?
I've had conversations with multiple players that were available to me because I am involved in the white ball. I know all the players who have indicated their interest, and I also know those who have no interest in playing Test cricket as well. However, like I said earlier, it's not everybody that say, hey, I want to play Test cricket is going to be playing Test cricket. There's a process in how we do things. There's a skill set and that is required to fulfill that role. And again, we have to be fair to all those young guys who are, playing in the regional 4-day tournament and putting their hand up for selection. And when that time comes, with all the conversations that I've had, when we now sit down as a selection group and based on the roles we see that is required, we will now fit the personnel that fits the role. And that's how we're going to go about it. Whether that be guys who've not played Test cricket before, guys who've been playing in the Test team, guys who have performed in the regional tournaments. It will be the best person fitted for that role that we want that will be selected.
All right. Thanks, Daniel. We have already gone over the estimated time for the presser. So just 3 more questions, 1 per person. Joel, Colin Benjamin, and Gerard Morris Seeley. Joel Bailey, 1 per person. Yeah.
Okay, I really wanted to ask two, but out of respect, I will ask one. I don't know who may ask the second question, but I'll ask one. And my question will be the question nobody will want to ask. So I'll ask the controversial question.
Hold on, what is that?
All
What
right?
is that? Should I come off the phone now?
No, you don't have, it's not, it's up to you, but I'll ask the controversial question. The talk,
Controversial.
yeah, the main talk of this presser is about the white ball, particularly batsmen. I don't like to use batters because you play cricket. So the batsmen, basically the batsmen who in the white ball team come transitioning to the test team or just transitioning back. All right. We have players like Shea Hope, Ruston Chase, Sherman Hetman who play test cricket. All of them have either been one-hit wonders or flops because they average under 30. And then we have those like Rovman Powell, Nicholas Puran, who don't even play 50 over cricket. So we don't even know how if they were able to bat for more than an hour in test cricket. What really the value of those players to the test team? Because really and truly, we don't know if they will be good enough for test cricket in terms of batting long. Because we look at the era of the Clive Lloyd, Steve Richards, the Brian Laras. Those batsmen were able to bat in different conditions and bat long and bat effectively, not just bat for 5 overs, hit 2 sixes and get out. So what value are you looking at for the batsmen in the T20 team? Because yes, Chauvin had done well, and yes, Brandon King has played first category for Jamaica in recent times. But in terms of the bigger names, the so-called stars, what value are you looking at from them in the test team? That's the second question I want to ask. But thanks so much.
Value, batsmanship, leadership, the ability to transition, because you speak of they averaging 30s and stuff when they played, right? Probably apart from Craig Brathwaite, I don't see any. I don't know any of our batters who's averaging 30, 35 plus in Test cricket. You know, again, it's understanding roles, and we've brought a brand and a style that we want to play. There'll be roles that have to be filled. Some of the roles um, might might suit one person, some might suit the other person. However, what I could tell you, a batsman job is to score runs. And when you and don't get me wrong, I hear people the chatter has been white ball, white ball, white ball players. I've never said I'm gonna make the test team a white ball team. I've never said that. Let's get that clear. However, I do believe there are players who play ODI cricket um, who are very much capable based on the skill set they bring uh, to to be successful in Test cricket, especially in a team where you look at what's available and the results. Um, and when you talk about change, there are a couple ways where change can be implemented. You could say change in practice, change in tactics, and also change in personnel. Because you want change because what has been happening has not been successful. So I'm not gonna say I'm not in no position to say, oh, Romario Shepherd can't play Test cricket because he only plays ODI. I'm not in a position to say that. However, if we as a selection group identify a role that we want at number 7, and when we look at all the players who qualified for that role, and Romario Shepherd puts his hand up for that, I'm just using an example. Don't put that and say Romario Shepherd is going to be playing Test cricket, but I'm just using that as an example. Um, and he fits that role that we want to be executed. He'll get that job. Also, there's when you select in a team, there is past performances in the current squad and roles that are being played already. So when we see all the good things that Andre has done over his tenure, winning in Australia, something we did not do in almost 30 something years or 25 years with that amazing test match with Sharma. Then we just won in Pakistan, something we've not done. Some of the players that were playing there was not even born yet. So these are little victories, but it's massive in the context of thing. Understanding the last time we won in Australia, and the test matches that played after that, and the personnel that and some of the same names you called were playing during those test series, and we could not win. So Andre has done some really has managed to get some amazing victories in places that we were not able to win. And then with the data that we've collected and the roles that we have put in place and the personnel that are still there in Test cricket that are doing things that we also see could complement and add value to the roles and the brand that we want to play, they're all available for selection. Don't get it wrong. I'm not coming here to bring yes, I have good relationships with my white ball players. The communication has been really good with them, and transitioning from league and to playing and understanding. Okay, this is the plan for you guys. So and so, and speaking with the agent because we only have 15 or so contracted players in the region. So and everybody, some of them are freelance. So my job is very difficult in managing. Okay, if a guy says, "Oh, you know what, I'm not unavailable for this series," and he's not contracted, who am I to stop him? But I trust that the relationship that I've built with them and the importance of West Indies cricket, that when we have conversations about planning and the different series, that they're committed. So, and it's the same, I'm going to approach it the same way in Test cricket. And the reason why we're having this conversation is because of the results that we've given in Test cricket. And we are saying that maybe Sammy could talk to these players to see if they could come and see something different. But that's not how we do it. We, again, identify the roles that we think that will be successful and competitive against the top teams. And then we put the personnel to go out and do it. And that's how we operate. That's how we've been operating. And yes, sometimes we need time. In an investment, the greatest thing is time. You got to give your investment time to grow. So once myself, Miles, my staff, the players that we have understand the journey ahead, yeah, that's all that matters to me.
All right, Joel, thank you. Gerard Morrisili and then Colin, and then we close. 1 questions, please.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Morris.
Yeah. My question for you is just to get a direct answer on who those players are that would have indicated to you that they are available.
Morris,
have been in the team before.
What's that?
Who are the players that would have indicated to you directly that they are interested in playing Test cricket, even if they are ones that have played before and have been out of the team for some time, who have had conversations with you, especially since we've seen a number of the newer guys going into the regional 4-day competition this year?
Mr. Morris, you really think I answered that question?
Yeah, I'm hoping that you do because we want to know.
No, Mr. Morris, let me tell you, I will answer that question, but you'll have to wait till that when we announce the squad, and then you will see that. Next thing, I give out all my eggs, and Australia is planning 3 months in advance against me, against my players. That's my little secret. When Miles decide that we're gonna announce the test team, you are free to ask me questions about all the guys that will be announced in that testing. But as of now, I cannot. I am speaking to everybody that fits the roles that we want to execute in the test series, in the test squad. Sorry.
All right, Coach. Thank you.
All right, Colin.
Morning, Skipper. They've saved the worst journalist for last.
Oh, Colin, I didn't even know you were here. I thought you would have more questions for me.
Nah, only got one today, man. Everybody answered my question. So basically, obviously, as you know, Skipper, when we went up in Trinidad for the ESPN interview before the St. Lucia won the CPL, you told me that you had a dream that you will be part of a World Championship winning team again. So obviously 1 year to the T20 World Cup. What do you, as you look forward to that, what is the big thing you think the T20 team needs to improve on from the last tournament to get you closer to that dream?
Yeah, Colin, you throw a bombshell on me there, boy. I'm still searching for a few things. I mean, the West Indies Cricket Board, the director had a spin camp where we brought Mr. Rashid to Antigua, and we had almost, I think, 15 regional spinners, wrist and finger spinners on. His report, has identified some guys that we can invest in. I mean, Akil Hussein, number one bowler, but his role is so different from the traditional spinners. He's more or less in the power play. Moti has been, very consistent for us. However, I'd love to have the services of a wrist spinner, whether it be left arm wrist spin or leg spin, because we've seen that they've been so effective. India winning the World Cup in the Caribbean, Kuldeep Yadav, Yadav, yeah, Kuldeep, yeah. Australia, South Africa getting Shamsi, Australia, Adam Zampa, England, Abdul Rashid, all these guys seem to impact the game on the winning side. And we yet to produce one of these. So I'd love that one magically appears. Narain was so instrumental to me as a captain and to us as a team that whenever he comes in, momentum switch. So we need to create that. Obviously, our fast bowling unit, we need to get better in the back end of an inning, bowling in the depth. I trust the batting lineup we have, and we have guys that are so versatile and they continue to improve. Shea Hope could bat anywhere from 1 to 4. Nicholas Pruan, T20 Team of the Year, most runs in 2024. Shafane Rutherford continues to. We have as a batting group one of the most destructive teams and batting lineup. So if we on the next tournament is in India, Sri Lanka, where we won our first title, so that I'm looking forward to, with an addition of just one mystery spinner. And to all the left arm pacers out there in the Caribbean, I challenge you this season in the CPL to stand up and be counted, because we've also seen how important that is in a bowling unit, especially in limited over cricket, and we seem to have stopped producing such.
All right. Thank you, Colin. And thanks again to everybody who joined. Thanks again to Coach Darren Sammy. I know I took some time out of your day. I know I owe you some time, but I can't pay you back for it. But thanks again for giving us the opportunity. And we'll have more of these dialogues going forward as well, leading up to the Ireland and England tour.
Okay.
So all the best to everybody who joined, and we'll see each other again soon. Thanks.
Jerome, I'd love to say thank you to the guys as well. I know these guys take their job seriously, but so do I. So thank you for having me. It was long, but I want to operate on a level of transparency. So, like I said, when we plan and we go out and execute, at least when you guys write, you'll have a clearer understanding of what we're trying to do in the different formats of West Indies. So thank you for your time and have a blessed week.
All right. Thanks again, guys.